How do you throw in melodic licks to chords that you're strumming? That's a question that Paul asked on my video last week, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, when it boils down to it, there are 3 things that you need to know, and so we're going to go over all 3 of those things and then put it all together at the end and make it sound awesome. So make sure you stay all the way through this lesson. First thing that you need to know, of course, is what the heck the chord is that you're playing, right? So when you're playing, for example, a G chord, you need to know that it's a G. That sounds silly, right? But you would be surprised how many students I have come in that are like, yeah, I can play some chords, but I have no idea what they are. I don't know what they're called, right? And here's why you first need to know what the chord is that you're playing. You need to know what scale or scales you have available to you to play with that chord. Or if you want to be fancy, what arpeggio is available. So let's do this. Let's take a chord like your G major chord. Now with your G major chord, there's several different options that you have for scales. You could play the G major scale, right? Or this, or the G major pentatonic scale, or the E minor pentatonic scale, Now, why do you need to know that? Because you need to know what scales are going to sound good over the chord that you're playing. That's where the licks that you're going to add are going to come from. They're going to come from that scale. So in this example, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to use the G major chord, but I'm going to use the E minor pentatonic scale for the lick. So that means my notes are going to be coming from this scale. Okay, so those notes, if you don't know them, are E, G, A, B, D, E, G, A, B, D, E, G. Now the reason why that works is because G is related to E minor. A G major chord is made up of the notes G, B, and D. With that E minor pentatonic scale, we're playing G, B, and D, but we're also adding E and A. All of those notes are found in the G major pentatonic scale or the G major scale. So that's why it's gonna still sound good to play the E minor pentatonic over a G major chord. Now, what's the third thing that you need? The third thing is rhythm and timing. And arguably, that is the number one most important thing, is getting the timing down. Because here's what we're gonna do. For example, I can be strumming my G chord, just having fun with it. But if I don't get the timing right to get a lick in there, and my timing is off like that, it sounds terrible, right? We don't want that. So what we're gonna do is we have to make sure that your timing is good. Now here is how we're gonna do this. We're gonna strum that G chord like this. And we're gonna hold it out for 4 beats, and then we're gonna play a simple lick using notes from the E minor pentatonic scale. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just strum the G chord one time, and then we're gonna use that E minor scale to get the lick, okay? But here's the thing. In your brain and in your head, you have to be having the beat going. So I don't care if you use a metronome, if you're tapping your foot, if you play this to a drum track, I don't care what it is. But the most important thing is getting the timing down. That doesn't matter if you've got the right scale, if you're playing all the right notes, if it all matches up with the chord that you're playing. If the timing is off, it's gonna suck. So just keep it simple like this. Play a G chord and then play a 3-note lick, just like this. Now those are all just different options off the top of my head. The cool thing about this E minor pentatonic scale is that it lines up nicely with your G chord. When you have your chord here, those notes they all line up nice. So it's easy to hit your G chord, lift up your first or second finger, and then hit the lick with that, right? Now, a really famous example of a song that does that. If you haven't gone and learned this song, you need to, because it's Sweet Home Alabama. It's essentially doing just this, because you play a D chord, C, add 9, and then your G, and then you have your licks, right? Now, you don't have to play a different lick every time either. There's a song that I came up with where the main riff included the same lick repeated after different chords, and that made it sound like this. Now, the cool thing about most open chords is most open chords have other notes from the scale nearby. And that's where you can start to play around with it and try out some different sounding things. For example, we did that with G using our E minor pentatonic scale. But you can do that same thing with C too. Like whether it's a C add 9 chord like this, but you can also do it with like D. But it doesn't matter which chord you're doing it with, which scale it is, wherever the extra notes are that you're playing. Timing is the #1 most important thing. So you have to have a really good sense of internal timing and rhythm and be able to feel the beat. Now that's great for open chords, right? But what if you're playing something else? What if we're doing like the blues? Let's do that. Let's do some 12-bar blues in A and throw in some different licks. So I'm gonna use just open A power chord, open D power chord, and open E power chord like this. And we're just gonna take that as long as you know where the different scales are that you can use, right? So it doesn't matter what you do. I could be playing with my A chord, that's just a really simple lick. It's the 2nd fret here, which is my A, pulling off to G, and then playing E on my 4th string, the 2nd fret. Right? Or I could do more. I could go. Now, if you know your A minor pentatonic scale, you know, the one that everybody starts out with up here, what you can do is you can start to combine that with that. You can just play a little bluesy thing, 1 and 2 and 3, and take that last beat of the measure and throw in a lick by sliding up here. Just 3 notes. Really simple, right? And then you come back. Now right there, what am I playing? I'm playing A, G, A. So that's on my 4th string, and it's the 7th, 5th, 7th. But I can take that and I can play different notes. I can add a note to it. So if you're playing the blues like that, it's the same thing. You understand what chord you're playing, what scales you can use, because you could play anywhere on the neck, right? I could play down here, right? I could shift up, or I could go higher. There's all sorts of different things that are available to you as long as you know where the notes are that are available for you to play. So to practice this, pick a chord and then pick a scale and then practice strumming the chord and throwing in a lick and making sure that the timing is great. The easiest way to start with this is with like a G chord, and then you throw in a lick, and then to make it interesting, change from that G to like a C add 9 chord like this. Right? That sounds good. And then throw in another lick. So the things that you need to know are what chords you're using, what scales are around that chord that are going to sound good with it, and then being able to throw in those different licks with good timing. Those are the 3 elements of being able to strum chords and throw in cool licks. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that that is fun. If you have any other questions about incorporating licks with your chords, do leave a comment down below. And if you want a really cool song that kind of does this, it's a short, really simple, easy song called Walkaways by Counting Crows. I've made a video on how to do it, and it combines strumming and licks in the intro for it. So go check out this video on how to play Walkaways. Add that to your quiver of songs that you can whip out at any time, and I will see you over there as we talk about how to play Walkaways.